guys. So another thing I wanted to come on here and talk about was kind of to address the claims of those who say or who criticize Christianity as kind of like a weak religion, or a religion that's kind of toothless and powerless, kind of like the likes of Andrew Tate and people like that who claim that Christians are generally weak and don't know anything about strength. Um, and so I have kind of a lot to say on this matter, but first of all, I just kind of want to bring up the fact that the people who bring up these criticisms, they're often looking at it through a very carnal lens, and that their definition of strength and what it means to be strong, or sometimes what it means to be masculine or powerful, is not necessarily what how the scriptures or how God would define those terms for us in the scriptures. And so, one thing it's important to remember and realize is that we are all weak and defective in some way. And to try to pretend that you are not really will can't even bar you from receiving the necessary grace of God for you in that area or situation where you may fall short. Because, right, isn't it true that a lot of times God even chooses the people that the world might seem as the most weak and the most useless to the world to bring about his greatest power and work in the world, you know? Look at the apostles, look at, some of the greatest prophets or figures in the Old Testament. They weren't necessarily high ranking, noble, outwardly strong, appearing in the eyes of the flesh, in terms of the lust of the eyes, the lust of the flesh, and the pride of life. But they were made strong through God, through the strength of Christ. And so, ironically, it's the very same response that some of these critics often call Christians to have. Responses of like being angry, that we need to be more angry, or we need to be more, maybe even violent or outspoken in a kind of combative way in terms of those who oppose the Christian faith. Ironically, it's people who react like that in the face of opposition that are actually the ones who are the most weak, because those are the very same people who are slaves to their passions and slaves to their anger, and that they succumb to those things. They succumb to the passions of their flesh, and they are slaves to them. And so we see the one true example of strength, true masculine strength, and true masculine power is Christ himself. And the real essence of strength, true godly and Christ-like strength, is actually self-sacrifice. It's a giving of oneself. It's self-control and self-denial, and having the strength to love your enemies, to be the bigger person, to bless those who curse you, and to lay down your lives for even those who persecute you. Because in that way, you are the victor. You are not letting evil overcome you. You are overcoming evil with good. And of course, this is nothing that's possible in terms of our fallen flesh for any of us. It doesn't matter how many muscles you have or how much you go to the gym. This true inner strength, this true strength of God, can only come as a result of Christ living in you and giving you that strength and making you strong, and his power being made perfect through your weakness. That is how we manifest strength in the world. And so Christianity is not a religion for the weak at all. I mean, in a sense, it is. It invites anybody who is weak, and which is all of us, to go to the foot of the one who truly is strong. And at his feet and by his grace, we will find true strength as well. It's not going to come about by carnal means of the flesh and through violence or through harsh words or through being combative or anything like that. Anything like the world defines strength in its carnal mind. God's true strength and grace is really just so much more greater and so much more transformative. And that's why Christianity has transformed and will continue to transform this world. And so, yeah, that's just my 2 cents on that matter. And just to, that's not to knock anybody. I'm just saying that, like, I know it's kind of trendy to kind of poke fun at Christianity sometimes, but really just know that true strength comes from that inner stillness and strength and power of Christ. And so I love you all, and I hope that made sense to somebody out there.